After Nash's talked about interview on Thunder last week not only blurred the lines of work and shoot but took the work-shoot concept of wrestling TV to another level, Bill Goldberg responded last Wednesday with a 10-minute shoot-sit-down interview to counter Nash's claims while opening up on legit issues going on behind the scenes in a new mixture of work and shoot to play off real-life perceptions into the TV storyline, saying that Nash and Hall had ulterior motives since the first day he met them by trying to get him on their side politically, responding to Nash saying that he doesn't like the business and never paid his dues by saying that while his first goal was not to get into the wrestling business, he learned to appreciate it for giving him the opportunity which he capitalized on by becoming the top guy in the company, while Nash's animosity comes from jealousy after he surpassed him with only 3 years in the business, telling Nash not to talk about politics after Starrcade '98, which saw him breaking his streak 2 weeks after getting on their booking committee, and that he paid his dues on the football field while Nash was playing basketball in Europe, saying that viewers and promoters don't care about who paid his dues for 10-15 years and it's about drawing money, which he has done with only a year into his career. Closing the Nash response, continuing to hype a shoot confrontation at the pay-per-view, saying that he doesn't care about winning or losing the match as he's coming to take him out. Goldberg also addressed the legit assumption that he didn't want to turn heel, confirming that he's uncomfortable in the role but went with the idea that someone else suggested because he wanted to be a team player, saying that being more aggressive in the ring wasn't a problem but his main issue was turning on the fans, specifically as it interfered with his charity work with kids, which for him is the most important aspect of his career, with Nash 5 days after the interview came out in the final quarter of the first hour for the rebuttal promo, saying that sometimes in the business people exchange words and work themselves into a shoot, making reference to the only time he was not professional in the ring by bringing up a legit story of him shooting on Pierre Ouellet in the ring after refusing to do a job to him in Montreal when he was WWF champion in September '95, responding to Goldberg's basketball claim, saying that he took out several NFL players and never lost a fight as a bouncer to continue the hype for a potential shoot fight between them. Nitro, which started with Booker saying that the people voted for Sting last week to get a title shot against him before the interference by Goldberg, saying that viewers will get the match they voted for tonight to set up a Sting vs Booker title match in the main event, with Jeff Jarrett building the heat for the pay-per-view, taking out Booker's wife, which saw him driving to the hospital to set up a Sting vs Jarrett match at the top of the hour, going 5 minutes with Sting going over in his TV return match, opening Nitro with a 2.5 rating to Raw's 4.8 in the closest margin of the night. Raw from Atlanta's Georgia Dome for the third time since October, coming in front of another sold-out crowd of over 25,000 to start with a hardcore tag match of DX against Steve Blackman and Al Snow going 6 minutes, while after weeks of speculation after the court case was settled, Raw's move to TNN got the official date with Monday, September 25th set up for Raw's big debut show, with USA Network's TV schedule listing a new show called Breaking the Magician's Code in Raw's 9 p.m. time slot on that Monday, with the last WWF show on USA set to be Heat on Sunday night, a day earlier on September 24th. Both companies started the show with a tribute to legendary announcer Gordon Solie, who passed away Friday morning, with both JR and Tony on the Raw and Nitro commentary tables calling Solie the greatest announcer of all time, who was a pioneer in the business and created many sayings that remain featured in the business for decades later, with Raw after opening the show with a match having the lengthy promo segment taking place in the second quarter, with Triple H coming out to apologize to Stephanie after an angle with Trish last Thursday that saw Stephanie walking in just as Hunter showed her some holds, ending up with Foley finally coming out to end it, saying that they're boring over 25,000 people in attendance before mocking Hunter by showing the footage again, booking the main event for tonight with a Rock and Lita vs Hunter and Stephanie tag match, with this segment opening a gap between the shows after the closer first quarter, jumping over 1.5 million viewers to a 6.1 rating, while Nitro fell to a 1.9. Next on Nitro was a Shane Douglas vs Billy Kidman Viagra on a pole match, with Mark Madden on commentary jokingly talking about the long history of the match stipulation, saying how all the biggest stars of the past participated in it in legendary matches, ending up with Kidman getting the bottle but Douglas going over, followed by Scott Steiner's entrance and pre-match promo for the Nash match coming next. Raw continued to climb throughout the first hour, picking up another 500,000 viewers to a first-hour high 6.4 rating, featuring an Edge and Christian vs Hardy's tag match going 5 minutes, continuing the build-up for the Triple Team WrestleMania rematch for SummerSlam, with the match ending in a DQ with both Edge and Christian smashing Jeff Hardy's head with chairs to establish their part in the upcoming TLC debut. After the intrigue created from the new shoot-style Nash and Goldberg interviews, WCW promoted a similar sit-down interview scheduled for Vince Russo this Wednesday, heavily hyping it as the first time Russo will speak since the Bash at the Beach angle, along with his response to Goldberg after talks of their creative dispute last Monday was heating up to the point that Russo thought that Goldberg will legitimately shoot on him when trying to convince him to do the job for Booker in the TV main event, with Nitro starting a loaded final quarter with 2 high-profile matches back-to-back, first with Nash vs Steiner in a straitjacket match, going 6 minutes with Rick interfering for the finish, followed by the entrances and start of the Booker vs Sting WCW title main event, leading to Nitro having its biggest viewership gain of the night with over 800,000 viewers to a 2.6 rating in a direct turnover from Raw, which dropped to a 5.8. With Raw's quarter mainly in 2 commercial breaks along with backstage segments and the entrances of the Angle and Benoit vs Dudleys tag match. Nitro went 5 minutes past 10 p.m. with the continuation of the Sting-Booker match going 5 minutes to end up with Booker going over clean in another surprise finish, putting Booker over strong with 2 pinfall victories in main events over Goldberg and Sting in back-to-back weeks, with Booker vs Sting along with the post-match angle of Vampiro attacking Sting and Jarrett returning to the building, picking up over 700,000 viewers to a 3.1 rating. While Raw's top-of-the-hour quarter, which included 10 minutes unopposed, jumped over a million viewers to a 6.6 rating for a Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit vs Dudley's tag match going 7 minutes, followed by another Hunter-Stephanie segment recreating the skit from SmackDown. as WCW was experimenting with new elements to the TV product in recent weeks in the build-up to the Goldberg-Nash Steiner match. The WWF went with a completely different direction by for the first time getting into politics on the Raw broadcast with updates from Michael Cole and Linda McMahon from the Republican National Convention in Philadelphia, as with the company's status and influence as a mainstream TV powerhouse at its peak. The WWF brought up its potential influence on the next president, noting that over 14 million eligible voters watch WWF programming on a weekly basis, starting a political campaign called SmackDown Your Vote to encourage viewers to vote in the upcoming election, with Rock set to make a major crossover appearance on Wednesday after being invited to speak at the Republican convention, as JR and King on commentary noted that the WWF will also make an appearance at the Democratic convention as to not alienate or pick sides, with the company's involvement making headlines in both parties, including from the critical PTC, which sent complaints to advertisers on Raw and SmackDown since late last year, which the WWF currently openly mock on TV with Stevie Richards' new character and the formation of the Right to Censor group, with perhaps the biggest one mocking the PTC being the Republican presidential candidate, which publicly invited Rock to be one of the headliners of the convention. Rock and Lita vs Triple H and Trish main event entrances took place less than 5 minutes to the top of the hour, with Rock coming out for the first time on the night at 10:58 p.m. to a huge ovation from the Georgia Dome to start the match, almost already in the overrun, going 6 minutes, with the match showing massive interest spiking huge in minutes way above the overall show's average to jump over 2 million viewers from a 6.9 final quarter to a peak 8.5 rating in the 6-minute overrun, averaging over 10.7 million viewers to become one of the most watched matches in Raw and wrestling on cable television in general, ending up with Rock and Triple H exchanging shots, including Hunter clotheslining Lita and Rock giving Trish a spine buster for the finish, closing the show with Rock laying out Hunter on Trish to continue the angle from Thursday, with Raw remaining strong after the near-record number of last week with a 6.4 rating overall.